Leading off starts right now, right here on Fantasy Pros, and I am the Welsh, Chris Welsh, joined today by KC Bubba. We're in the house. You can find him on Twitter at BDintric. And Bubba, I don't know if you knew this. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day. Did you have a great Labor Day, by the way? I know, you probably knew if you had a great Labor Day, but did you have a good one?
Yeah, I did a lot of driving, so no. But and it's
No,
and it's
horrible.
it's and it's hotter than Hades out here in California right now. So it's been rough go
Yeah.
lately.
Arizona waves high to
Yeah.
California, but it's not that much different. But hopefully you guys all had a great Labor Day. I was sitting here ready to go and do a show yesterday. I didn't even realize there was miscommunication, and it was funny. I had a back and forth with Wonky. We were laughing, or I was laughing. It was just she was just like terrified of whatever I was talking about. That I was setting up and prepping and ready, and because there were no stats done or anything, there was no show made. It was a funny moment, but I just want everyone to know I was here for you yesterday, but I was here for you in spirit. But maybe we all just needed to enjoy a little bit of time. I'm just Wonky. I'm out here. I'm out here ready to talk baseball every single day. Holidays be damned. I'm ready to do it, and I'm ready to do it today with all of you guys, as is Bubba. We got some bets. We've got stats. We've got some questions, and we have Aaron Judge. We have Aaron Judge hitting number 54, and something interesting happened as well in the betting market, Bubba, is if you only paid attention to Twitter, you would think that this race is similar to like Michael Harris, Spencer Strider for Rookie of the Year between Otani and Judge. You would think by kind of like our contemporaries that are sitting out there are like, how do we not vote Judge? How is Judge not? Bada bada ba, all that. But the betting market does not follow what the internet sentiment is. Yesterday, as I was prepping for the show that didn't happen, I went and just took a look, and the betting market had already moved Judge to plus 1,000, and Otani was minus 550. It's the biggest gap I think we've seen, and I think it's worse odds than Otani had in the preseason for it now. Yet, he's closing in on 200 strikeouts. He's at 30 homers. Judge hits a homer yesterday. In one day, the market moved even more, plus 1,200 now. This is according to DraftKings on Judge, and Otani moved further away at 600. So it's been kind of a long-standing conversation we've had throughout the year. But, you know, we all are impressed, and we all love 200 strikeouts plus 30 homers. But, Bubba, the betting market will not budge, will not move, and does not look like it will falter at one instance with the Aaron Judge stuff. Aaron Judge is going to win this according to the betting market, and one day can change the odds by like 20% as it did yesterday.
So Judge is minus 600 right now, and
No,
Otani's
Judge is
plus
minus
12.
1,200. I'm sorry if I may have incorrectly said that. Judge is minus 1,200.
Okay, and
He
Otani's
was
plus
minus
600.
he was minus 1,000 yesterday.
Gotcha.
One
Okay.
homer moved him to minus 1,200. Otani is now went from plus 550 to plus 600.
Plus 600. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds about right because it's been weird. I've always been Team Otani. I've also said I get it if Judge gets it. What he's doing right now is unconscious. It's crazy to what he's doing offensively, but it's just a unicorn. We're seeing the offensive skills, the pitching skills. I don't see the gap being that large, so I just keep putting money on Otani, but it does look like it's leaning Judge's way. And there was a lot of great arguments for Judge on Twitter last night. You can't argue it. It's been amazing what he's doing.
I really got a hard time with this too. This might be, I don't know what you make of it and what we can have a conversation with. I'd love to have a conversation with like someone from BetMGM or something like, what are we doing here that we have such as the biggest fans? I mean, literally in the chat, like, Go Cards, like, still got to be Otani. I think Wonky thinks this is dumb. Like, what Otani is doing, be it fantasy or not, is special. He's probably going to put up a 35-15 season, closing on 100. He's at 270 batting average, while also striking out 200. I mean, he's a Cy Young contender and an MVP contender, yet it's not enough for a guy that's might hit 60 homers. Like, it's just, I'm so unimpressed by 60 homers comparatively. And I don't know how else to talk about it, but like, if you come in here into this chat, you would think these odds are break even, but you start to get into the room of probably sports writers, you know, probably not crazy to think that these books have a handful of sports writers under their tail and doing, you know, little surveys and stuff like that, that the bookies and sports writers are so firmly judged, it's incomprehensible.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense in that regard. And some people made some good points, and some of them were writers that Judge is doing this right now with the dead baseballs that we've been seeing. That you look at the Yankees' offense as a whole over the last month, like outside of Judge, they're hitting below 200. Like they've been dreadful. They moved Judge to the leadoff spot just because he continues to rake. It's crazy what he's doing. It's got a Barry Bonds-esque feel. It's like what do you get? You can't pitch to him because he's just crushing everything.
Yeah.
And I also do respect, like we talked about last time, how he said the record is 73. Like that's what he flat out said. So I respect that coming from Judge. So it's excuse me, I'm allergic to this conversation. It is an interesting one to say the least, and it's one that's going to go on and on and on and on, and you can't go wrong with either one. What we need is the NFL. We have an offensive MVP and an overall MVP. That's what we need.
Yeah, something like that. Well, I mean, they have like a offensive, like I think well, I guess they don't. They sparse out. They try to sparse out some of those. My problem is Wonky said something really interesting, where she said, if Judge was not a Yankee, but I've seen the inverse, or just switched up a little bit. That I think is even more is if Ohtani were a Yankee and Judge were an Angel. I don't even think we would be having remotely this conversation. I think you would have Yankee writers left and right debating how can we have this conversation when Ohtani is doing what he's doing. It's just, I want to hear the rationale of how Judge can be minus 1,200 when Ohtani's doing what he's doing. What is the rationale that what Ohtani has done overall, even though you've also had baseball like come out and kind of talk about how, that this award, it doesn't have to be someone who makes the playoffs. It's the most valuable team. Imagine what this Angels team would be without 200 strikeouts and 30 homers. Agreed. I know it's a lot that we've talked about, but it kind of hit ahead where it's moving so far, literally one day from 1,000 to 1,200 because he hit one home run. Yet Ohtani
hit two homers. Ohtani hit two.
Great point. He hit two homers. That's a great point. Ohtani hit two homers
and still lost ground.
He lost a 250.
I don't understand it. But like the books are smart, so they're getting intel from somewhere. Like they're getting somehow guys are saying this is my vote. Like if you want to start something's happening, or it's just everyone's putting money on Judge and they're leveraging themselves. Who knows? But it's crazy to imagine that the gap is so large, like you've been saying, because I don't care who wins it because both are so deserving. To me, it's Ohtani just because it's like a unicorn. But at least have the odds pretty close because they're not that far apart. That's what's like you're saying. And it's so crazy.
Yeah. I think I'm becoming more infatuated with the gap that's happening than anything else. At the end of the day, whatever. Writers want to give it to Judge because Ohtani won it last year. That sounds like a writer to me. That sounds exactly like a writer. Like, well, he did it last year, and he's repeating a lot of what he did last year, but we got to go do something. This is really impressive. It's like, no, what Ohtani's doing is impressive, and you're taking for granted. You're literally sitting there taking for granted this amazing, incredible thing that's happening because it happened once before. And if anything, his hitting has come down a little bit off of last year, but his pitching is getting better. And it's just like, all right, what are we doing here? Let's see Judge throw a 98 mile an hour. Crazy. Let's see him throw a 100 mile an hour sinker and adjust. Not that matters, but the market is getting weird and wild. Another piece of headline news: if you have Wander Franco and you're banking on him helping you on a playoff run, maybe go somewhere else and start thinking differently. Because Wander Franco, for the second time, had a rehab start cut short. On Monday, he was feeling some discomfort in his right hand. He's been on the IL since July 10th, and he's had a hamate bone injury, which we already know that is a huge fear for Power. He did start the game in AAA on Monday, and he was expected to play 7 innings at shortstop, but he came out of the 5th because he was starting to experience some of that. And I think you're getting back to the point of starting over. I mean, obviously the Rays want to play for something, but I don't know if it's going to be with Wander Franco. Bubba, what is the likelihood you think? I've got Wander Franco. I got a playoff team that has Wander Franco. I could use him. This was the first round of the playoffs this week, and I was thinking I was going to get him a little bit later, and my bench could have even used just a little bit more of a boost because my starting lineup is really good. It's a keeper league. But do you have any hopes that we're going to get anything from Franco between the hamate and 2 pushbacks on his rehab stints?
No, I'm not optimistic at all. I was concerned a few weeks back when things kind of got derailed a bit, and then they're like, oh, it's just a temporary, cautious move, and they brought him back. Like, there's nothing cautious when the Rays are still trying to contend for a spot, and you need Wander Franco. So the fact that he's getting pushed back again, you got the hamate injury, where power is already kind of a concern I had with him. We haven't seen it enough. The hamate will zap that. To me, I would have dropped him by now, but it's tough. Like a keeper league, you can't. But in a redraft league, he's gone.
But yeah, in a redraft, I think you can move on. The rookies 100%. Are an easy play. We had all those discussions of like Gunnar Henderson for this. Like, sure, I'd rather have Gunnar. He's out there 100%. Playing. Tristan Casas at this point. The one thing, Tristan Casas got a hit in his first game, and one of the things they said right out the chute was that they're going to let him play. This isn't the same position, of course, but they said they're going to let Casas play for the most part all the way through to the end, obviously not going past 100.
And they said either late yesterday or early this morning that they're pretty much shutting Hosmer down for the rest of the year. So it's Casas' job.
And they had sent down Bobby Dahlback. So, I mean, they had made it.
God, talk about a fall from grace. My goodness.
I feel bad. I actually, for some reason, I thought because I interviewed Tristan Casas in the AFL last year, and when I was talking with him, for some reason, sometimes you just assume like, hey, everybody's like buddies and everyone's cool and everyone's helping each other. And I had kind of done a like, hey, you and Bobby, did you guys catch up? And you've talked to him and stuff. And he's just like, no. He's like pretty much like, nope, don't really. He's like, he's a good guy, but there's no advice he gave me for the AFL or anything, and didn't talk. And now Casas essentially has his gig over Bobby Dahlback, and he's down in Worcester, which is not great.
Not quite Boston.
Not quite Boston. Yeah, 100%. But don't expect any good help from Franco. And yeah, in any redrafts, if you've got IL issues, you just probably move on, because between all of the issues that are going on there, I just don't see any great help. And I think time is against him. So it's not going to work out.
100%.
On the injury fronts, Max Scherzer was pulled after 5 innings on Saturday with left oblique fatigue. The one thing I feel positive about is he could just look at that left oblique, and I think he could probably scare it back into working, and he could be good to go the rest of the way. So,
which I just use.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest guys in person too. Remember when he was a Diamondback? He was very, very nice, and he's still like that. He's just intense. Like down an alley, you wouldn't want to see him. He'd be terrifying. Yankees manager Aaron Boone confirmed Monday that Andrew Benintendi undergoing a Tuesday repair on his broken hamate bone on Tuesday with the bone in the wrist, and that's just blah. I mean, there's nothing for this year. You don't have to worry about this year, but next year even keep an eye on that. Power never really developed like I was hoping it was going to, but he hit really well, and New York was a great spot, but it isn't now. Jake Odorizzi missed Saturday's start with right arm fatigue. This one I really hate. Justin Steele placed on the 15-day IL with lower back strain. He had been such a boon to the back half of this year, but with a 15-day IL stint, you can probably just dump. There's no roster. There would be no reason to hold on a roster spot, or even in a short keeper league, you could dump him out, right?
Yeah, no, it stinks because I've been riding him for quite a while. It's been great, and it was just he was supposed to actually come back later this week, and then on this morning we put him on the IL. So yeah, probably kiss that one goodbye for a bit.
Yep, I got a league where it's tough. It's like a dynasty. It's a dynasty league, but there is a finite amount of players that you keep. And Steele has been really good, but just based on my roster, I just don't think I can do anything with him. I don't have the IL spots anymore. I need arms, and I've got so many guys that I think he still would be fringy keeping, and I'm going to have to move off of. So this kind of sucks. Brandon Drury was placed on the 7-day concussion list, retroactive to September 3rd. So obviously that would mean he can't come back till the 10th. This one, rinse and repeat. Giancarlo Stanton was removed from Monday's game after fouling a ball off his foot. X-rays were negative, so maybe just a couple days or two, and you can get yourself some Stanton back. Miggy was placed on the IL with a bicep strain, and David Price, 15-day IL with left wrist inflammation. Boy, how the mighty have fallen with David Price. He is rough in the streets. Amazing that he's still playing. Stanton, is there any long-term concerns? When I say long-term, I mean, rest of this year, as far as rostering goes with, the little like scratch injuries that he likes to get?
No, I'm not worried about him. I'm more concerned about the ball that hit him. I wonder how that thing's doing, because that couldn't have felt very good. But no, I'm fine with Stanton. They need him. They're only a few games up compared to what they used to be in that division, so they need Stanton and company.
He's a Chuck Norris of baseball players.
Exactly.
Like the ball X-rays were positive, and we're not going to see any life into that thing. The seams are broken. Let's talk about this for a minute. This was a very gross DM that I got, and I do not appreciate these being shared with me. And it was shared by our own Mike Mayer, the ultra producer for this show. And he sends me this disgusting, keep it to yourself, Mayer. No one wants to see this. Here's what it was. Patrick Corbin, over his last 3 starts, a 1.96 ERA, only 4 earned runs, and 18 1/3 of an inning. Gross. Yuck, Bubba. I'm not going to fall for it. I will not. Will you fall for it? I will not.
Well, this sucks because I was the guy that was like, okay, we're looking for the next year's Robbie Ray. This guy's not getting drafted. He had showed great promise at the end of last season, and here we go again. He's going to suck us back in, but no, don't fall for it. Like if you have him in draft and hold leagues, roster him, but don't go spending $5 on Patrick Corbin. No.
See, Wonky, should we go talk to HR? He shared the same thing with Wonky that said, I can't even with that. I think we need to go to HR.
To be fair, Mayer's probably in football mode. I've seen a lot of football tweets. He's an Eagles fan, so they're delusional because the season hasn't started yet. Give him a couple weeks, temperature will calm down, and things will be fine.
Sending us Patrick Corbin stuff. What's he going to do next, Wonky? Start sending some Jake Odorizzi must starts? I don't think so. We're not going to fall for that. You know what? If Patrick Corbin wants to be good, good for him. I will not be falling for it. I will not be doing any of that. But if you guys were wondering, he does have a sub 2 ERA as of recent. Maybe that gets you excited. It does not me. This day in baseball, 1995, Cal Ripken Jr. played his 2,131st consecutive major league game to surpass Luke Gehrig's 56-year record. Ripken received a 22-minute standing ovation where he went 2 for 4, including a homer in Baltimore's 4-2 win over California. I have a very important question. Mm-hmm. I am a not standing ovation guy. I don't understand that. I see a 22-minute standing ovation, and I'm like, what? They just had a 6-minute ovation for Brendan Fraser at like a film festival for his movie The Whale. Why are we doing that? Why do we need that? 22 minutes is massively excessive for anybody. That's crazy talk. 22 minutes, Bubba.
But it was 22 minutes because I remember it very clearly. It's because he walked around the entire stadium, like high-fiving people. So I think they're counting that whole thing. I don't think it was like hey, we're going to applause until you come out and tip your cap out of the dugout. No, this was like literally I remember the banners came down on the building. He was like, after the game, he almost went Wade Boggs and got on a horse probably.
After the game, that's fine. You get on a horse, get a microphone.
Imagine being the pitcher. Imagine being the pitcher going, okay, now I got to sit here for 22 minutes. Like in today's era of baseball, if you say Scherzer's on the bump, and he's like, it's just imagine that. Imagine he's like, no, get in the box or get in the dugout. Like we're not doing this for 22 minutes.
I would love for any player to try to do a 22-minute standing ovation when Max Scherzer's on the mound.
Someone in the chat find out who the pitcher was when this ovation started, because I want to know who did not have the cojones to shut that down.
I am more impressed. Or I don't know, terrified when I read the 22-minute standing ovation more than I am the consecutive games played. What was Dr. Glenn? I walked into a 10-minute conversation about Ohtani has to win every award, but now 20 minutes of applause is too much.
That's good.
Dr. Glenn, you son of a...
That's good. He just took the win from you. You're getting a loss today, Welsh. He just took the win.
Yeah, no, I did. I think he stole the win. I think I got pulled for it. Dr. Glenn, you can host the show then. You can spend 10 minutes or 22 talking about whatever you want, you son of a gun. I got a trivia question for you, and let's go back to Aaron Judge. Hey, let's talk about Ohtani for 12 more minutes, too. Let's just get 22 straight.
This is the Judge and Ohtani show. Didn't you guys know that?
I mean, it has been a whole lot. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to talk about. This is my trivia question for you, and it has to do with Aaron Judge. Who is the last American League player before Aaron Judge to reach 54 homers in a season? The last American League player to reach 54 homers in a season, not counting Mr. Aaron Judge. Bubba, do you have a guess? Let's see what you got, chat.
Not counting Aaron Judge, 54 homers. Brady Anderson.
That's a good guess. No. I wonder how long his standing ovation would have been.
Oh, it's probably Giancarlo, now that I think about it out loud.
No, it's not Giancarlo Stanton. These are both good guesses. I would be curious what the chat has here. The last American League player before Aaron Judge to reach 54 home runs in a season. Dr. Glenn, you're our co-host. You should know. What do you have for 10 minutes?
I'm curious now. This is a good one because I'm really curious. It's probably going to be It's gonna be a name that just makes me mad that I didn't get it. Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No cheating. No one go cheat. But we're going to do some stat heroes, and we'll come back and we'll see if the chat has any guesses, and I will let you know. On the stat hero front, Bo Bichette went 3 for 5 with 3 homers, 5 RBI, 3 runs, huge breakout, and man, it was like right on cue. Bogman and I were just talking about Bo Bichette in our last baseball episode, talking about like future value, talking about, you know what I think the debate was, by the way? I think it was Bo Bichette versus Michael Harris for next season and which player you wanted. And Bo Bichette, like on cue, just throws it out to you. So let me just throw this out to you for 2023 redraft, because we were talking about, if you look at what Michael Harris is doing and you extrapolate, you're looking at like a 30-30 year, that I think it's going to be hard pressed that Michael Harris is not going to be a second round player. And Bo Bichette, his season really had fallen off. He really had the potential to go into the 3rd or 4th round. But I ask you, 2023, Bo Bichette or Michael Harris?
I'm still a Bo Bichette believer. Just like the stolen bases he had last year were obviously more than what we'd expect from Bo Bichette, but by the end of the season, he's still going to hit close to 280 with 20 plus home runs and maybe 10 plus steals, which is a good year. It's not Michael Harris's year. I expect some regression from Michael Harris. He's still going to be very good. I'd go Bo Bichette, but that's a great question. Like and shortstop's so deep, so you might want to go with the outfielder. It's an interesting debate.
Similar, like not crazy big walk rates. Everyone gets on Michael Harris about that. Bo Bichette doesn't walk a whole bunch. Strikeout rate is better for Bo Bichette, obviously. But batting average has been through the roof with Michael Harris. Just a really interesting, fun one to think about. But of course, on cue, Bo Bichette does that. Hits 3 homers when we have that conversation. Shohei Ohtani, 2 homers. You get less MVP odds, right, Glenn? 3 for 5, 2 homers, 3 RBI, 3 runs. Lewis Brinson. He lives. Lewis Brinson's one of those guys I kind of dig. And with their Giants, 2 homers, 3 RBI. I saw you getting a little hyped up online.
Well, because I was making a joke because I do my DFS show Monday through Friday, and he was like 2K last year when he had that stretch of like 2 weeks where he crushed baseballs. So I was always joking about Lewis Brinson. And then I saw the Giants sign him. I said, okay, it's Lewis Brinson month coming up. Get ready, everybody. And then 2 home runs on the first game. Yahtzee.
Just as a pickup real quick, we have some great guesses in here. Fielder, Griffey, A-Rod. I think this is Josh Hamilton. Yeah. None are correct. And then Chuck said he cheated, but wow, when you saw it. So just get ready for it. No Jose Canseco. We got in here. Also, Wonky said Mike Mussina was pitching for the Orioles when Ripken broke the record. I'd be curious at the other pitcher on the other team.
Yeah. Because Mussina's not going to do anything to his,
his
team. Like that's just one of those you just suck it up and go.
Yeah. 2-seamer 85. Yeah. Anthony Santander had 2 homers as well, so a bunch of double dong days. Mike Trout hit a homer. Luis Rengifo, 4 for 5 with an RBI, 2 runs. Aaron Judge obviously hit his 54th. Adley Rutschman, 3 for 5 with a homer, wants to be the #1 fantasy catcher next year, big time. CJ Abrams, remember what a big stupid deal I was making about him being the everyday? It's starting to pay off a little bit. 4 for 5 with 2 runs, and Victor Carantini had a homer going 2 for 3. On the pitching side, Lance Lynn went 7, struck out 11, gave up only 3 hits. Jose Suarez went 7, struck out 7. My boy Ryan Nelson with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I had actually put this on the sheet for the show that never existed that we did yesterday. Ryan Nelson was coming up. I'm actually a fan of him. I chatted with him in spring training about a couple Diamondbacks prospects. He's just a really smart kid. Didn't have a great minor league season. Goes 7. Strikes out 7, gives up only 4 hits. Good arsenal of pitching. Had a great 2020. Look out for him. Hunter Brown, there's a real big name to look out for. Went 6, struck out 5 in the start. They'll probably not screw around with needing to do any relief stuff with Hunter Brown anymore. Really like him. And Blake Snell struck out 10 in 6. So before we go to stat zeros, let's pick up here. We had Luis Gonzalez as a guess. No, it's a good guess. I think we had a couple others in here, but are you ready to hear the player who had the most homers or went to Jesus? Who was the last American League player before Aaron Judge to reach 54 homers? That is how it is phrased. I could not get it out. That player is none of the players you talked about, but that player did take a mean hook to their face by a
Joey Bats.
That is about 5'2". Joey Bats in Toronto in 2010 can take a right hook and can put up 54, and he's the last American League player to do that since Aaron Judge. So That's my my bobbling of that answer. But really great guesses you guys did. On the stat zeros, Matt Chapman went 1 for 10 with 4 strikeouts in a doubleheader yesterday. Hello, baby. Trace Thompson 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and some 3K performances from Tommy Pham, Javi Baez, Eric Haas, and Willie Adames. A lot of strikeouts there. New point leagues people are freaking out. On the pitcher side, Tyler Alexander gave up 6 and 10 hits in 4 1/3 of an inning. Andrew Heaney not only gave up 6 earned runs, he did strike out 8, which would have hit a good strikeout prop, but gave up 4 home runs. No bueno. No bueno on that. Hey, friends, we've got a September giveaway here over at Fantasy Pros. How would you like the chance to win an Austin Riley 2021 signed World Series baseball? Yeah, me too. All you got to do is subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Go and check it out wherever you're at. I think they're probably talking about iTunes reviews on this, but it's lit up on SoundCloud. Go over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, review, and you will be eligible to win an Austin Riley 2021 signed World Series baseball. It does not get much better than that. And they're always running fun contests as well. Go Cards last month had the most called home runs and is getting a little prize as well. And last month's Randy Rosarena autograph is potentially out to the winner if they claim it. So I think they're working on that. So lots of fun prizes here over at Fantasy Pros. And all you got to do for this one is subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and you could win. I would like you to win because that is an awesome prize. A World Series signed baseball is super cool. Bubba, if you didn't know, I kind of like signed baseballs around me.
Just a bit. I enjoy them too. I just don't have them in such a great location like some other people do.
Yeah, I need to probably get a little bit more order. For the home run contest, as Wonky put it, the Judge bots are making a push after a 3-day run of homers. They started making a push up, and what that's done is made the contest a little bit closer. I apologize. I received no artwork, so there's no good change to the board I can show you, but I can tell you that D Blum has got the lead with 49. High Cubby is in second at 48, and Elskell jumped up over Go Cards with the Judge homers to 48 as well. So we are a 1 home run race for the top 3. Go Cards and Cat Fox are at 47. Cat Fox jumped up with Judge. So we had a whole lot of Judge calls yesterday. There was an Ohtani call. And yes, Mike Mayer is still on the board. No Joey P, though, but Mike Mayer's on the board. But Joey P is probably close. No, yeah. He is on the board. It's so gross. He is on the board. He's got 42 because of his Judge bots, which makes me very, very sickened that he has done it. Friends, we would like you, if you want to make some bets, to go over, put your tiara on, sit back, and make some bets with BetMGM. This one kind of like goes together a little bit.
Yeah, that blings with the griff, with the kid.
It does. It does go with my the kid hat. You can check out BetMGM today using the promo code leading off, and you can get a $1,000 risk-free bet. Doesn't matter if you have a crown or tiara. All you got to do is have an account and a promo code, and you can be set up today. You might not be royalty like Joe and I, but you can make bets, and you can sit on a mountain of gold. So go and do it. Leading off promo code. You do it over at BetMGM. Download the app and make a bet. Actually, they just also had a promotion for, just throwing it out there, for anybody for redepositing. So if you want to get a little extra cash, you can do that as well for making some bets, whether it be baseball or NFL. So here's some props for you. The number 1 prop of the day, according to Betting Pros cheat sheet, MLB prop cheat sheet, is Andres Jimenez, who is at 1 total base. They're projecting him almost 3, by the way, so you want to take that over. The number 1 plus money play that they've got is Jordan Alvarez at 1.5 total bases. They project over 2. That is some plus money. On the strikeouts, and also they have a new look for it, and it actually kind of screwed me up when I copy and pasted. The new look looks a little bit nutty. But it actually looks really clean. Like how I copy and paste it looks weird, but I really like the new design they put up. So go and check that out at Betting Pros. The 2 pitching sides I've got for you. The number 1 K prop was Kyle Wright today against Oakland. You only need 4.5. He's projected at 6, a little over 6. And the number 1 plus money play for strikeouts is Eduardo Rodriguez, who's at 4.5. He's going up against the Angels. That's going to pay you plus money. They're projecting at 5.7. So Bubba, Andres Jimenez, Alvarez, Kyle Wright, Eduardo, anything you like out of here. Obviously, the Jimenez and Wright ones are, I forgot to put the juice on there of what it is, but I think they're both in like the 140 range. So those are juiced up, but Alvarez and Eduardo are both plus money.
I would parlay the Jimenez and Wright ones. I like both those a lot. I think those are really, really good spots. Jimenez is facing a gas can. Wright's facing the A's. Might as well be a gas can. So I like those quite a bit. Don't mind the Erod one if you can just not walk guys, because the Angels strike out over 26% of the time versus lefties. So there's upside there. But I like the parlay that Wright and Jimenez call.
Yeah, I think there's a couple good plays. The right one is probably my favorite of all of them that I would put together on the strikeout front. So if you guys want to go check that out, it's a little juiced up. You might want to play it with something, and you can go do it over at BetMGM with the promo code leading off. Over on the FanDuel, a couple things I put together, Bubba. You tell me what you dig. Some prices over on FanDuel. DraftKings wasn't fully out when I put this together. Aaron Nola's at 10-7, Jose Quintana at 8-2, Bieber at 10-8. Framber's at 11 and Cal Wright's at 10-6. You guys know I always fall for Montgomery or Quintana when they're pitching in suboptimal offenses against them, and he's really cheap, Quintana. But I also like Kyle Wright a lot in his matchup at 10-6. And then stacking only 2 implied teams of over 5 runs today, Dodgers and Mets, but there'll be plenty more fireworks out there. But what do you think as far as pitchers and any hitters you're putting together?
The main pitchers on DK for me is Wright, Framber, and Bieber. Love them. If you do need a value, though, I don't mind the Quintana call at all. And then for bats, I love St. Louis. I love attacking Espino anytime I can. So it's one of my favorite spots. You obviously have Coors Field in play. And I think that the Giants could be interesting versus another lefty on the mound. And it's going to be hot, hot, hot. So the ball's going to be flying out of LA.
Home runs. Let's call some home runs for today. Mike Mayer has got Rafael Devers. He should be obligated when Patrick Corbin pitches to pick someone that's against Patrick Corbin now. I think that's going to be, we should have a bonus for that. Wonky is going Mike Trout. Bubba, where are you going today?
Well, we have something similar in play because I said I like to target Paulo Espino. So give me Paul Goldschmidt in that game as the potential NL MVP goes deep in this one.
Well, you did the same thing I was going to do in picking that game, but I went with Nolan Arenado. Goldie was going to be my number one bet, but I decided to go against it. So I'm going Arenado. You're going Paul Goldschmidt. We're putting that together. By the way, the chat is killing me today. If you guys don't hang out in the chat,
they're good.
We've got the usual Go Cards finding a way to slight me as he does, saying I forgot my own trivia question. I did not forget my own trivia question. I could not articulate the words together properly. My brain did not function, but I did not forget it. And Dr. Glenn absolutely with the mic drop, because as everybody knows, or anybody that hangs out, Dr. Glenn gives me a game line at the end of the show, because this is Joe's show. And we see, like, how did I do as a pitcher? And he dropped an 8 innings, 0 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and a 23-minute standing ovation. And then that's what Go Card slights me. Wonky comes in and freaks out. And then Dr. Glenn says, you guys can criticize the MVP voting, but there's no feedback welcome here. This is for his call on my pitching side. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. Good to be back. Like I said, I was literally sitting in this chair ready to talk with you guys, but no one else was here with me, so I couldn't do it. But Bubba was here. I love when Bubba hangs out. Bubba, what do you got going on?
This is the usual stuff. Bench with Bubba coming at you a couple times this week. My DFS Quick Hit show Monday through Friday. So I'll keep you posted there. Just follow me on Twitter at BDentric, and you get all the goods.
Nice. Go and get into the Discord on Fantasy Pros, make some home run calls, have some fun, check out the crew, and do all of the business. Good luck in your playoffs if you guys are rocking that. I got some playoffs going on. I got some playoffs into next week. And we'll be back again tomorrow for all the same great goodness, and hopefully I can, maybe articulate a trivia question fully. For Bubba, I'm the Welsh. Let's get some homers. No more Ohtani and Judge. Please.